Yes, lads. Yes, ladettes. Hope you guys are good and hope you guys are ready to discuss some of the breaking stories coming out this afternoon. Obviously, we discussed the official announcement of Mr. Christopher Nkunku. Yes, you guys aren't dreaming. He's finally a Chelsea player. And to move on, we have some big stories out from La Liga. Are we coming back in again for Tchouameni this summer? And to end with things, we have some very interesting updates around Gabriel Veiga of Vigo. So, as we know, my friends, this summer window is going to be a crazy one. It's going to be full of twists and turns and surprises. And if you guys want to stay up to date, well, maybe a bit more up to date once my back is fully better. Of course, you guys know where to find me on BlueLionsTV. So, hit that like button, share your thoughts and opinions, and without wasting any more time. So obviously, my friends, let's start things off with the official announcement of Christopher Nkunku. Now, apologies for taking so long to actually discuss the story. Of course, this was posted up by the club's official site earlier this morning, but I need to be brutally honest with you guys. You know, I'm still feeling this coding. I'm still feeling these meds. And, you know, right now, I'm kind of feeling like Havertz. I'm kind of feeling like Lukaku. I just want to transfer away from Codeine FC. Like, I think to myself when I'm on these meds here, guys like Lil Wayne were actively pursuing this on a daily. This was his regular lifestyle for how many years? And why? Why would you want this to be your lifestyle? Like, I literally feel like I could fall asleep at any point. I feel tired. It's just like constantly lethargic all the time. And it's just like, why would you not want to be part of reality? You know what I mean? Like, me, myself, yeah, I like reality. I like reality because we now have Christopher Nkunku. And today, it's been announced that he signed a 6-year deal, which takes his contract to 2029. And in my opinion, I think we've done it, you guys. I think we've signed a serious player that has the potential, or has given me that type of confidence, that inner confidence that this is like a hazardous type of signing. This is like a proper elite signing that's going to put us back on the map in the Premier League for next season. My friends, of course, let's go to the club's official website and let's discuss and hear the first words of Nkunku announcing himself at our beautiful club. As it says, he joins us for the 23-24 season. And here's what Nkunku says. I am incredibly happy to be joining Chelsea. A big effort was made for me to bring me to the club, and I am looking forward to meeting my new coach and teammates and showing the Chelsea supporters what I can do on the pitch. My guy, don't you worry. A lot of us have been seeing what you've been doing at RB Leipzig, and a lot of us are very excited to watch you do the same thing at our football club. As he says, having played in Liga and the Bundesliga, I now want to play in the Premier League, one of the strongest leagues in the world, and I'm very excited for this challenge, and I will be proud to wear this Chelsea shirt. Lawrence Stewart, Winston Lee, the co-sporting directors, of course, Christopher has proved himself as one of the standout attacking players in European football over the past 2 seasons. He will add quality, creativity, and versatility to our squad. He has demonstrated his ability at the highest level with RB Leipzig in France, and we look forward to him joining with his new teammates ahead of the new season. And that's basically what we need to really get from the club's official website. I'm going to give some thoughts and opinions, and yeah, I can't help but be a bit hyped. I mean, it's Christopher Nkunku. I mean, next season's going to be one big balloon up for everyone, you know, and I just think that with a player of his quality, yeah, I really feel like in Pochettino's system, this guy can really just shine even brighter. Because for me, a lot of our attacking issues have come from the fact that we haven't really coached any attacking patterns of play over the past few seasons. Last season, things got 10 times worse because we were changing up the attacking plan literally every single week. And this is why it kind of made the efforts of all our attacking players a bit futile in that sense. But I think with Pochettino, his reliance on transition attacks, counter-pressing, pace, you know, with someone like Nkunku playing maybe centrally, maybe even up front as well too. With Nkunku, this guy gives you options, he gives you possibilities. And all I would say about Nkunku is that he's not really a player you can really typecast as necessarily being like a striker or an attacking mids. He's one of those rare players in the world where he kind of excels in nearly every position. I mean, he excels playing in midfield. He excels playing as an attacking mid. He excels playing up front with the striker or by himself or drifting further wide. This guy excels in all capabilities, yeah? And for me, it's about the football you play as a team that's really going to determine the full extent of his success with us for next season, right? So this is why I'm really excited by Pochettino. I guess it was incredible for Nkunku that he's really got the opportunity at RB Leipzig to really, finally fulfill his potential at being a world-class player. Because Leipzig are one of the clubs in Europe that constantly rotate formations and lineups and teams. And then Nkunku, when he first joined them, was in midfield. Then every season he's moving further and further up the fields. And last season, when he ended the season with RB Leipzig, of course, his goal securing them a trophy before he left. Leipzig were playing in a 4-2-2-2 with Werner and Nkunku up front, where Nkunku could drift to the left-hand side, have a bit more creative freedom. And in that sense, I think the fact that we've decided to not pursue Joao Felix, I don't think it's necessarily because he's a bad player. And in my opinion, I stand by that. I just think they've realised with a guy like Nkunku, we can't have this situation where we have too many cooks in the kitchen. I kind of think that Nkunku is probably a better version of a Joao Felix right now, but the club understand the type of talent they have. And it's kind of crazy because when we signed Nkunku, Tuchel was there, actively helping to get this deal done. And then when he's announced that we've kind of signed him, Graham Potter's the manager, and now that he's officially joining us, Pochettino's here. So it really sums up how much of a crazy year it's been at this club. I kind of feel like we're on the cusp right now of finding some sense of normality now for next season. And I think Nkunku, wow, it's going to be a mad season. And I'm actually ecstatic that we've signed a player of this magnitude and his qualities. And I feel like I might have to do another reaction video just so I can enjoy this guy's best football again. So how do you guys feel? Nkunku is our player. Share your opinions below and hit this like button if you guys are happy that we finally officially completed the signing of Nkunku. Now, my friends, let's move on to discussing some of the big reports coming out from La Liga. Now, my lads and my ladettes, are we about to be adding to our French gang for next season? Of course, Fofana. We're looking at Badiashile. We're looking at Malo Gusto, Christopher Nkunku. And could we be adding Aurelien Tchouameni to our squad for next season? Well, based on reports coming out from Sport in Spain, wow, it's a very interesting story that's developing. Before we just casually write this off, let's not forget that Sport were the ones really leading the story when it came to Rafinha and us and the whole Barcelona saga last summer. So there is some clout behind what these guys are reporting. And essentially, we've had our first attempts at signing Tchouameni turned down by Real Madrid. That bid was up to 60 million euros. And reports state that we could come back and consider making an 80 million euro offer, essentially matching the same fee that Real Madrid paid Monaco to sign Tchouameni from last summer. Why are we doing this? Well, it seems like Mauricio Pochettino, of course, is influencing some of our decision making at the top. And I do want to say this, now with Pochettino, he's one of those managers where he works alongside club structures, like actively works alongside them, as in he wants to do that. I was saying with Graham Potter, that wasn't really his forte, and he kind of didn't have the right skills at times when it came to doing anything outside of coaching and working with the team. But with Pochettino, he wants to be involved in every single capacity, and I think this is what makes this guy the right manager for us for next season. Now, the Sport report suggests that Madrid aren't necessarily outright refusing the sale of Tchouameni. All they're saying is that we're still insisting on the player, and it mentions that an interesting fee could make Real Madrid think. And here's where I want to give a lot of my thoughts and opinions because I have so much to think about around this story. And let's actually look at that Real Madrid squad to start with. Now, they've just signed Jude Bellingham this summer. They already have Valverde. They have Camavinga. Camavinga doesn't want to play as a left back next season. He wants to keep playing in midfield. And alongside them, Kroos and Modric are still set to remain at Real Madrid. Now, the reality is that Tchouameni is the only defensive profile they currently have in their team for next season. But another reality is the fact that Madrid ideally would love to sign a top-class left back. They feel like Ferland Mendy is just not reliable enough based on the injuries he's picked up. And of course, they've recently signed Joselu, where they announced that Joselu is the final signing they're making. But ideally, they would love to sign a striker, of course, now that Benzema's left. My thing is, could an interesting offer and amount force Real Madrid to think? Now, if I was in that negotiation table, I would simply propose this. We know that you want Kai Havertz. Listen, let's do some business, my friends, my amigos. We give you Kai Havertz for a reduced fee. That way, we're not boosting or strengthening a rival in Arsenal. And in return for Havertz, who's going to help you guys up front, because you have no one right now, maybe give us some favourable terms to sign Tchouameni. Now, obviously, Madrid have been, normally using DM profiles, of course, Casemiro being like a brilliant one, Makelele, etc., etc. But at the same time, reality is this, you've got 6 world-class midfield players fighting for 3 positions potentially. Could Madrid sacrifice a midfield player to strengthen up front or in the full-back position, and then maybe turn to using a pivot? Because Bellingham excels in a pivot, defensively and offensively. Camavinga does the same thing too. Modric, Kroos, Valverde, they can all do that. So this is where the report of an interesting offer could make something happen. Now, I don't want you guys to get too gassed or excited. Tchouameni is at one of the best clubs in the world, probably the best club in the world. Why would you want to leave Real Madrid? You'd only do that if you felt like you had to, and if you felt like your game time might get more reduced for next season, right? And also, we can't forget this reality. We don't have Champions League football to offer. Could that even put him off? Time will tell, right? But Madrid, I'm getting the impression, want to do more business, but they have to raise some sales first. And in positions like this, sometimes you have to sacrifice someone that ideally you don't want to. Now, in terms of Tchouameni's season with Real Madrid, listen, it was decent. The lows were nowhere near as low as that, stupid comp that came out during the start of last season. It was his debut performance. People were taking the piss with that one. But this guy really excelled up to the World Cup, where, of course, Kroos and Modric found new life with Tchouameni playing as a DM, right? But of course, post-World Cup, where he also played very well, he got an injury, right? And of course, by the time he got back, you need to build up your fitness again. Madrid are in the crunch part of their season. And during the crunch part of the season, it's about consistency. So he found it very hard to get back in the team. Now that Bellingham's been added to that Madrid squad, could Madrid be forced to do something now? And interestingly, Pochettino was the one pushing for this type of move. And in my opinion, if we could sign Tchouameni, my lords, the guy we should have signed years back, some stupid business at the time, a manager didn't want him, so was picked instead. We wanted him to test himself one more season at AS Monaco. Thank God we have like a new transfer team, because I feel like even most of the new signings we've made under them, with our old boards, have even considered these guys based on silly arbitrary measures like experience and nonsense like that. So I kind of feel like we should continue to watch this space, right, to see what happens. At the same time, I'm not getting too excited, because I know Madrid must be thinking, Tchouameni, Bellingham, Valverde, Camavinga. I mean, come on, your midfield's set for the next 15 years, not even 10 years. So time will tell. And the fact that ideally they want a striker and they can't get one right now, I think there's a lot to think about with this one, right? And now, my friends, let's end things with the final report, and we discuss more updates around Gabriel Veiga. Now, at the time when I made the video discussing this game and breaking him down, I was saying expect more things to happen. And that was because now Gabriel Veiga's new agent is Pini Zahavi. And normally when players, of course, work under Pini, big things are happening to their careers during the transfer window seasons. We've seen that with Alaba, Lewandowski, so many players. And right now, Gabriel Veiga has a release clause of 40 million euros. He wants to go. Celta want to cash in. They want the full amount, no installments. And it does seem like his destiny could potentially be in the Premier League. And based on the latest reports coming out from Spain, it seems that Pochettino is really pushing the club to try and make a move to secure him. Now, Gabriel Veiga, it has to be remembered, really had his debut season last season. And when you consider that context, I do think his return for the season was very impressive. I mean, how many players in their debut seasons get double digits for goals and assists? It doesn't really happen. But at the same time, as I explained in the last video, Celta Vigo play in a type of way where it was like they wanted to encourage him to make those late arrivals in the books. They attack with verticality, right? They want to make third man runs in the books. They want someone to carry the ball into those attacking areas too. Their wingers weren't really wingers in that traditional sense. The width really came from the fullbacks. Javi Galán, one of the best fullbacks in La Liga last season. And their wingers in Celta Vigo are cutting inside, right, to free up those spaces out wide for the fullbacks. And most importantly, those central spaces for guys like Gabriel Veiga to break away and make those runs further forward. I say that because that's the context behind why he was so successful last season. And that's because before January, where they had the old manager, before he got sacked for Carvajal, he wasn't really in the team that much, and he wasn't being played in that same role. Now my thing is though, right now, our priority in midfield is a midfield player that has defensive acumen, right? That's the only thing. I think we have an abundance of attacking mids, and I think most of the attacking mids we have haven't even been used in an attacking sense for how long, where they could even really prosper and find a new level working under Pochettino. So I'm a bit confused by why Gabriel Veiga news is really picking up more and more steam. And for me, like, once cover goes to Man City and others leave as well, you have to secure Casado and the defensive guys first. And I think you only target Gabriel Veiga's if Mount definitely goes, which is still far away from happening right now. If Conor Gallagher goes, and it's just like, I wouldn't be surprised if Gallagher remains, because even Pochettino at Paris Saint-Germain even tried to sign him for PSG, so he likes his profile. So I think it would take the sales of big attacking mids that we already possess before we even consider making a move. But then that gets me thinking, what about Andre Santos? What about Casado? What about Chukwuemeka? You know, AC Milan are trying to profit off us right now with our indecision in the midfield area. And they're trying to talk to Carnes to be able to entice him to sign. You're just thinking to yourself, if there's going to be openings in the attacking midfield spots, did we not spend like over 55 million on 3 incredible high potential attacking mids to one day take over? What, to loan all these guys out and then sign another guy who only literally had his one debut season? Like, it gets me thinking, if Casado or any of these guys were at Celta Vigo in the same position that Veiga's in, imagine what their assists or goals for the season would be like, especially Casado, where obviously under 20 World Cup, I think the guy was one of the strongest players physically, but in terms of how he plays, that old school Michael Ballack about him, he knows how to score. I feel like he's very suited to life in the Premier League, right? Are you telling me that you wouldn't give game time to him and Santos, who are showing already that they have those capabilities? So I'm a bit puzzled by the nature of this story, and I just don't like what it communicates, because if you already spent so much money on so many young guys like this, why would you add another one literally 12 months later? My only explanation could be simply this: the scouts, the club feel like Gabriel Veiga is that good that maybe he eclipses some of the guys that we already own. And listen, if someone like Casado or someone didn't make it here, you're guaranteed to at least earn 30, 40 million from him in the future, right? But Veiga is someone who is that good, we can't afford to miss out on him. That would be my only explanation. But I think time is going to tell. But I find it interesting that this story is picking up a lot more steam. But it seems like there's still some time before any decision's made, because you have to pay the full release clause, 40 million euros in one installment, if you want to sign him. And that implies that players have to be sold first before we even discuss official fees. And my friends, on that note, that is the first story out the way. There is going to be another News Daily video coming out. Not going to lie, the drugs I'm currently on right now, I could probably make 10 videos today. My friends, on that note, I'm in EFC, this is BlueLionsTV. I'll catch you guys later with some more videos. Cool.